game is lame and absurd, but you spit. You need to sit back and observe a certified pimp. So oh yes he is.
I mean that boy, that's the shit.
He's a mess he is.
Fresh to death.
Ain't nobody fresh as he is.
They can't compare.
Or get next to him
Because
he's so fly.
I mean the boy's so clean. From his white tee
Hold down to those jeans.
You see you get the ice in the pinky.
Good morning. What is good, everybody? It's your man's Ken Jackson. This is the Ken Jackson Experience. And coming to you live today because I'm trying to be productive. I've been slacking big time. But I need to do something because if I don't, my life is going to fall apart, and we don't want that to happen. So, welcome to the show. You know, I want to talk about something this morning that I think a lot of you can probably relate to, and it has to do with relationships and social interactivity. That's what I'll call it, social interactivity. And, you know, a lot of us have dealings with people that we don't necessarily like. People talk about us, say things about us, you know, to others, and the word gets back to us, and a lot of us will get all up in our feelings because so-and-so said something, did this or did that, and, you know, and I feel disrespected or I feel offended or whatever. And me personally, I don't deal with that shit. And the reason why is because I don't have to. Something that I've always lived by was that you can't control what comes out of somebody else's mouth. You can't control what somebody else does. So why are you going to worry about it? Why are you going to let someone else's comments or thoughts or feelings affect you in any kind of way? I got a TikTok account that I actually go on to regularly. I do live streams on TikTok more than I do here, and I probably should do more here. But hold on, let me fill this in here right quick. And I'll say, who cares what they say? All right, that's going to be our topic today. Who cares what they say? All right, so lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. All right, so anyway, right? People say things about you. And I'm not saying you personally, but people say things about you in general. And most people feel like they got to say something back. Oh, my God. You know, this person, you know, talking about me, you know, and people get all emotional and shit. Same thing with, you know, doing live streams. Like I said, I do a lot of live streams on TikTok. And I get all kind of crazy comments. I've been suspended a few times on TikTok because somebody got all pissed off and reported me. I got reported for hate speech a couple weeks back because I was talking about the federal judges that the Trump administration had arrested because they ruled against some of his positions or they didn't agree with his policies. which is totally unconstitutional and totally wrong against the law. You can't just go out and arrest a judge because you don't like their ruling against you. But anyway, somebody reported me that day, and they got that video banned and taken down, and it was TikTok said was because of hate speech and community violations. It was absolutely. First of all, I don't know what hate speech is personally. I'm not one that subscribes to that narrative. Granted, there's a lot of people out here that have a lot of hateful things to say, have some nasty things to say about this person or that person or this group or that group. And personally, I don't care. I don't care what anybody else says about me. I don't even care what anybody says to me. Just don't put your hands on me. You follow what I'm saying? Don't assault me. And I mean physically. I could care less what someone says to me. You can stand in my face and cuss me all the way out. I don't care, because you're the one looking like an idiot. You're not going to faze me one way or the other by what you say to me, because what you say cannot affect me or affect my life, period. It's not going to affect my decisions on how I do things or how I feel about certain things. Say what you want. In fact, I respect you more if you just say what's on your mind in reference to me or anything else. I go on to a lot of different podcasts, and I like to listen. Sometimes I like to, join in the conversations when invited. And yes, I'll leave comments. I've had people get pissed off at me because I left a comment, on their post. And my thing is that if you don't want anybody to comment, turn them off. Turn it off so that nobody can comment on your shit. You know what I mean? But if you don't want comments, then don't, or if you don't want comments, don't post anything. It's that simple. I post a lot of things and I invite the comments. Good, bad, or otherwise. Say what you want, because I will respect you more if you just say what's on your mind. Whether I like it or not doesn't really matter. The whole point of me posting things is because I want to know what other people think, what other people feel. But that's just me. That's just me. A lot of y'all out there get all pissed off and get all up in your feelings and your emotions, and then next thing you know, you want to fight, you want to argue, and all of that. I don't have time for that. I'm not going to argue with you unless I choose to. Sometimes I like to argue with certain people just to get a rise. And believe me when I tell you, it's not because they ever get up under my skin, because it's impossible. You can't rattle me. You can't piss me off. You can't get on my damn nerves. Because one thing that I am always in control of is my response. I am always in control of how I reply to something or not reply. And you should be too. You shouldn't give a damn what anybody says or how they say it, because you can't control what they say. But you can 100% control how you respond. It's just that simple. It really is. The problem most people have is that they can't control their emotions, and they live in their emotions, and they let their emotions lead every decision that they make. And when you live in your emotions like that, you tend to get your feelings hurt. I was speaking to a friend of mine. I'll call her yesterday a friend. She's more than a friend, actually, but for the purposes of this conversation, she's just a friend. But I was, saying how, you can't, or no. She said to me that she can't depend on anybody, and you can't trust anybody. And see, me, I'm of a different mindset. I trust everybody, no matter who they are. I trust everybody. I trust everybody to be who they are. And when I know who they are, I can't be disappointed by them. When you know exactly who a person is, you can't be disappointed in them or by them if you know who they are. And see, and that's the key. You have to find out who people are and trust them to be themselves. Trust them to be them. And as long as you trust people to be themselves, you can never be disappointed by those people. Because everybody's not going to live up to your standard. Everyone's not going to be the way that you are, or think the way that you think, or see things the way that you see things. But you're always going to be able to respond in your own way. Respond in the way of your choosing. So if you're going through life and you're like, oh, so-and-so gets on my damn nerves. They get on your nerves because you allow it. Get out your feelings. They did this, do that, blah, 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 said this, said that, but that's who they are. That's how they are, and you knew that. So why does it bother you that they're being themselves? Think about that. And be honest with yourself, because you know exactly who you deal with on a regular basis. You know their personalities, especially if you've been dealing with them for a number of years. And this goes for friends, family, co-workers, whoever it may be. When you've been involved with someone, on any level, after a period of time, you get to understand, you get to know what their traits are. And if they bother you, or if something about them bothers you, it's up to you to decide whether or not you're going to continue to deal with that. But if you keep yourself in that space, then you can't complain. Knock it off. Because you can remove yourself from this situation by not dealing with these people that annoy you. I often get annoyed by things that people say. I get annoyed by things that people do. But I don't let it get me all, out of character because I'm annoyed with them. I just decide not to deal with them on that level. When they try to initiate, something, in that particular space, I don't entertain it. And I don't have to. I don't have to deal with people unless I choose to deal with people. Some people ring my phone. I don't answer if I don't want to talk or if I can't talk at the moment. But when I can and when I decide, I'll call back. Leave me a message. If it's important, leave a message. If it's important, text me. I'll see a text message, and I can read your text message. And again, though, I'm still not going to respond until I'm ready to respond. More people should live their lives that way. Because you're in control. You're in control of your life, no one else's. You control the access to yourself, and you control your emotional state. You control how you respond to anyone. Nobody can make you do anything if you don't want to do it. And for anybody out here that says, oh, so-and-so made me do it, you're lying. They didn't make you do anything. You chose to do that. You chose to get all upset. You chose to get all emotional about something that you didn't have to get all emotional about. You created the stress for yourself, not them. Don't blame anybody else. See, we're in a culture now, we're in a society now that likes to blame everybody else for the problems that we experience. But if you're being completely honest with yourself, you'll realize that you created your issue. You created your problem. And don't get me wrong, there are circumstances that are beyond your control. But the finality of that is that you control how you respond to it. Of course, we're going to run into issues and roadblocks, and we're all going to deal with problems, in our day-to-day lives. But it doesn't always have to be an emotional, excited response to an issue. If you just take a step back, take a look at the big picture and understand, hey, or at least try to understand what's going on, and then work the problem. Just work the fucking problem. That's something I learned in the military. Because prior to my military service, I was just like everybody else, man. Somebody would do something or say something that torqued me off, and I'd go to hell off, and it never ended well. You know what I mean? But eventually, as I became older and wiser, hopefully wiser, I think I'm wiser a little bit, I realized that I didn't have to fly off the handle about that. I didn't have to get angry about this, that, or the other. All I had to do, all I should have done, or should have did done, whichever, was take a step back, look at the situation, assess the problem, and then work the problem, and keep it pushing. Because no matter what, this too shall pass. If you're going through something, you'll get through it. Just sit back and put your life on cruise control, man. Stop responding to things emotionally. Stop letting yourselves be pulled out of character. Unless that is your character. If that's who you are, that's who you are. But I can tell you that life will be a whole lot better if you don't lead with emotion. All right, so that's all I got to say this morning. I'm your man's Ken Jackson. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel. Follow me on all the social platforms at Crazy Baby TV World. That's where you'll find me. Again, subscribe. Won't cost you a dime. I don't have nothing to sell you. I don't provide services anymore. I don't do production, editing, or none of that shit. I'm not trying to sell you any merchandise. I'm just trying to share some knowledge, and hopefully, if I say something that's useful to you, use it, and if it's not useful to you, toss it aside, because maybe it'll work for somebody else. All right, so until next time, I will see y'all. I am out. Peace.